Well, hello, lovelies. Welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back if you are a returning lovely. Thank you so much for your support and all of your love and your energy exchange always. Um, Really, it keeps me motivated to continue sharing. And yeah, so it's really exciting. And thank you so much again, like I said. Um, so, I wanted to get on and talk a little more about some ascension symptoms, but not so much like your typical ascension symptoms that you probably have been hearing about from myself and others. And those kind of look like, like headaches and digestive issues and, stuff like that, emotional stuff, emotional things coming up. What I kind of wanted to talk on a little bit more are probably the more funky, off the wall ascension symptoms, I would say. I personally have been experiencing some. One is not so off the wall, but I feel like it kind of ties everything else in together. And I only have a few listed, but we'll see. If anything else comes up. You know how these things go, and you kind of just get downloads and stuff just comes through randomly. So basically going to start with the first one. I don't know if this has been popping up. I haven't really watched a whole lot of videos personally on ascension symptoms just because I already kind of know what I'm going through. I've been through the phase of or actually I'm in the phase of where I'm just not listening really to what doctors, like Western medicine, mainstream media, news, all of that. I'm really not listening to what's being pushed, I will say. And part of that is just being guided. I have been very guided to stay away from the news and everything that's going on because I'm very focused on my path and establishing what I need to be able to provide the healing that I need to whoever is brought to me, basically. So I'm being guided away from all of that to put my focus on these things. But I already kind of wasn't really paying attention to that stuff anyway. Basically, like skeptical and taking it with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I have to be kind of, I think, careful with the things that I say as far as like what YouTube flags and doesn't flag. But I will just say within the last 4 years, with all of the, I will say, misinformation and inability to keep stories straight, I think has kind of sparked a lot of mistrust with the bodies that are in control. We will say that. Yeah. So yeah, there's already kind of like that lack of trust there. Plus, as I've been saying, I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for 12 years. So essentially what I'm getting at is like I see the corruption. So there's a lot of doubts. And so I don't really listen to what doctors say. What I do is I listen to my body. And that is one thing that I suggest to everybody. I'm here sharing my story so that I can magnetize the people that are resonating with that. As you hear with readings, not just tarot readings but like collective readings, like take it as it resonates. Don't try and make something fit. If it's not your message, it's not your message. I have messages sometimes where sometimes I'll just be scrolling and I'm like, oh, I feel like there's a message in here, but it might be like a little message. Maybe it's not the whole message. So maybe if a piece of it fits, then a piece of it fits, but not all of it does. Don't try to make all of it fit. Same thing with me. What works for me might not necessarily work for you. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like I'm magnetizing in the people that are going to benefit from what I'm sharing. What even if it's just one message, and then they go along and continue on their path. I am blessed and so grateful to be able to offer any kind of help that I can, whatever that looks like. I'm here for the love, the lights, however that that turns out. Not here for recognition or anything like that. Genuinely just want to help. But so anyway, don't want to get off track. But which I just did. I had a thought and then it just went away. But yeah, so I'll just get into it. I won't even continue on with what I was going with. I'll just get into it. So the first one is ringing in the ears. But the weird part, and I don't know if you guys have been experiencing this. I have heard this, so I know I'm not the only one. My dad actually, when I was visiting him just a couple of months ago, I was telling him about what I was experiencing, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's like this and this," and was like basically describing it exactly how I was experiencing it. I'm like, yeah. So essentially what it is it's like a Morse code in your ear. So for me personally, I do get the ringing, but I've been getting ringing in my ears. I'll be straight. I don't think I've ever not had ringing in my ears. As long as I can remember, I've always had ringing in my ears. I just didn't know what it is. And what I feel like it is now, based on all the messages that I've been getting, I think it's just like tuning into other frequencies, because that's what we're doing basically. That's how our universe works. You're just tuning into different frequencies, like a radio station. And the way that we live, we've been kind of programmed to tune into one frequency, or not necessarily one frequency, but lower frequencies, if you will. That's better description. So yeah, so I've always gotten ringing in the ear. And that kind of comes in, sometimes it's this ear, sometimes it's that ear. I've noticed that I get more stuff on the right side. And let me know if you guys relate, but I get this feeling that it has to do with like right brain type stuff, if you know what I mean. Because your right brain is your more creative side. I would say, if you're going to put it in terms of like masculine and feminine energies, or masculine and feminine traits, your right brain would be more of your feminine energy, whereas your left brain would be more your masculine. Your masculine's more like the I wouldn't necessarily say go-getter, but it's like the task-oriented, accomplishing tasks. Yeah. And then like, like the feminine's more like intuitive and creative and nurturing. And yeah, so I don't know, I was getting this feeling, and this has been more recently too, that it's coming in on the right side, because it's tapping into right brain. So same thing with this freaking weird Morse code. I wish I could tell you when it started, but it definitely started within the last 3 years. So when all of this awakening started for me, because my awakening really started with reading the book. Well, this particular awakening, I will say, because I've been through a few. But this particular awakening started with reading this book called The Bringers of the Dawn. I'm not going to go into it. If you guys are familiar with it, awesome. You'll know what I'm talking about. If not, look it up if you resonate being with like a starseed. My dad introduced Pleiadians to me, and it really resonated with me. And I looked into it. I was just looking for more information, and I found this book. It was calling me. It resonated. It sounds like, when you read through it, it sounds like some fairy tale shit. I'll be straight. But everything that they talk about is I'm literally witnessing before my eyes. It sounds crazy, but it is. It's happening. But that's where my journey kind of started, and that was about 3 years ago. So it's February 2024. So that'll tell you. Yeah. Crazy to think back on that, but I won't do that right now. So I think I want to say between that time and I don't know, about maybe a year ago, that started. I couldn't tell you. I wish I could. But it's definitely increased. I will say that it's definitely increased massively within the last year. And I notice that I don't really feel it so much. Sometimes when it comes in really intensely, I will feel it when I'm like sitting up, but I'll feel it mostly like when I go to bed at night or when I'm waking up in the morning. And I shit you not, it just feels like this, like tapping. And sometimes it's really, really fast and sometimes it's slower. And I'm like, fast or slow, I don't know what you mean. But after getting this and, just messages and like I've mentioned, my communication comes through um, readings, whether they're tarot readings or collective readings, pick a card readings, and usually my pendulum. So I've been getting these messages um, basically about downloads and getting a lot of downloads. I get them in different ways, but as we're going through this ascension to higher consciousness, we're upgrading. And this is in a physical sense, an emotional sense, energetic sense. We are literally going through upgrades. And so if you caught my twin flame video, the first one, I was talking about basically like our universe being so much like a video game, really. I think that's the best way to describe it. And so it's like we are in these avatars. Only what's happened is we have been programmed to believe that we are the avatar and not actually the player with the controller. And that's what we're doing and going through this ascension is we're remembering that we're actually the player, not the avatar. But in going through this process, we're taking in these codes and it's upgrading us. And so I came to the conclusion that that's what's happening. And it's so cool. I just like I don't have words for it. I can't even conceptualize a lot of the things that I've been through and have experienced within the last year. But this one has been really interesting. So yeah, let me know if you relate. I don't want to get too in depth on that one. If you guys want a little bit more, I can. But I'm gonna move on to this one, which is just a trip. So I have been noticing this. Same thing with like the tappy tappy Morse code in my ear. I have been noticing that and this has been more specifically when I would wake up in the morning. I would wake up in the morning and I would need to pop my ears, like as if I had gone through a pressure change or something. Now, I feel like you could have any person or like I don't know, scientists. I don't know who the frick the experts would be. But or like a weather person, that's who it would be. A weather person would say that it's barometric pressure that's changing. But this is I don't feel like this is something everybody is experiencing because this is why I say this. When I tell people this, they look at me like that. Like, oh, Kat, that's fucking weird. Thank you. I think that is weird because we always experience changes in barometric pressure. No, yes, we do. That was a rhetorical question. We do. And I feel like I would have been experiencing something like this my whole life. This has only just been recent, which is why it made me, curious. You made me a curious little kitty cat. So, just recently, I was listening to, I want to say it was a light language transmission, because I have been listening to so many of those, and it's just been like, oh my gosh, it's been helping me upgrade like crazy. And yeah, so I was listening to this transmission, and oh gosh, what was she talking about? Oh, she made this comment about you might be traveling in your sleep. You might be going up to spaceships on your in your sleep. And I kind of like I looked up my mom because we're both listening to it at the same time. Well, I had listened to it prior and I was like, you got to listen to this. It was great. Like the tingling that I was feeling in my third eye, and it's not just in my third eye that if I feel it. It's like I start to feel tingling like around here. I feel it in my crown. It's just like it's undeniable. It's so freaking awesome. And so I was like, I have to share this with you. You got to listen to this. So we're listening to it, and I give her this look like that's weird. And I gave her that look. We kind of both gave each other the look because there was another reading that I had listened to that it said something about something along the same lines. I can't recall right now what it was, but it said something along the same lines. And but I didn't get that feeling. I was like, travel, yeah, like I definitely, yeah, but spaceship, nah, it doesn't feel like I'm actually like leaving. I don't actually feel like I'm leaving my house or my bed. Pardon me, confirmation. So I wasn't, and so I mean, I already did confirm this, but that's like extra confirmation for y'all. So I was like, my mom picks up her pendulum because that's how, like I said, that's one of our forms of communication. My number one form of communication is the resonance in my chest, of course, which I always encourage that to be your number one form of communication, because when you don't have the other things to validate your ego, you gotta trust in you. So that's number one. And then like my readings and stuff, and then my pendulum. So same thing with my mom. My mom trusts her pendulum, and as you should, you should trust your higher self and your pendulum. Like, these tools are here for a reason, and they want to communicate with us and they want to help us, but that's beside the point. A very valid point, but beside the point. So she picks up her pendulum, and she's just like asking if I'm traveling at night into a spaceship. And so her pendulum is like, going counterclockwise because that's her no. And then it popped in my head the same time it popped in her head, astral. And so we both have our pendulums in our hands, and we're asking if I'm like astral traveling at night. And both of our pendulums are going so crazy, like wide out there, clockwise, for yes. And we're just like, holy shit. So I'm like astral traveling at night, which I guess would kind of make sense. Like the pressure changes in my ears. And I had a lot of like recent developments within this last just within the last 48, 72 hours, to be honest. A lot of downloads and upgrades and epiphanies and puzzle pieces, like things just coming together, tying in my childhood, lots of remembering of like past lives and just stuff like that. And so it's like it's all like kind of tying together. It's coming together. So it's like these the Morse code and what I was feeling about that being like these downloads and these upgrades, and then getting the downloads of the past life remembrance and stuff like that. And that's not just past lives on earth, like that's beyond, because like I said, I've been healing for millennia. I acknowledge I'm old. I'm a wise old soul. But you know what, I think that just means that I've got so much love. And I think that's why I've got so much freaking love. But, that's an off tangent. So anyway, yeah, weird pressure change. Please let me know if you're experiencing the same thing, because I know I cannot be the only one that's just going to bed at night, waking up like hella pressure in their ear, like having to yawn it away. Sometimes I have to yawn a few times to release. It's that much pressure. And like, I will admit, like I live in northern Nevada. It's like, between 4,000 and 5,000 feet in elevation. But at the same time, I'm 32 years on this planet this time. And, I've lived here with the exception of being in Oregon, that was, oh my gosh, it was like under 200. It was really low. I went from up here to down here. And I thought perhaps that might have made a difference. It did make me more sensitive to pressure changes. However, this is different. And it doesn't happen every single night. Like I said, it only increased in the last year. But yeah, you would think that, if that had anything to do with it, living at this elevation had anything to do with it, it just, I would have been experiencing this before. And it's just like, I haven't. So my point, I'm sticking to it. So either way, moving on to number 3. And this one is just kind of like all encompassing. Beautiful feeling of being crazy. And I feel like this is whether you are resonating with being on a twin flame journey or solo. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter what you are resonating with right now, even if you resonate with being a starseed and a light worker, or you're an angelic human. It really doesn't matter. As we are ascending here, as we're ascending, you're gonna feel crazy. Why are you gonna feel crazy? Because your brain's been programmed. That's why. If you didn't catch my twin flame video, Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. It's chapter 1. The power, or not that. You are not your mind. It is the truest thing. There is such a deeper story as to why things are the way that they are. I think there's starting to be this common knowledge. I don't want to call it a mainstream knowledge, but there's this developing common knowledge that we've been lied to about a lot of things. We've been programmed. We've been basically taught. I don't know if you can hear it, but my laundry's done. I'm going to take that as confirmation because it's doing its little jingle. I love the universe. There is a much deeper story as to why things are the way that they are. We acknowledge that there are certain beings, inorganic beings, that, and by inorganic, I just mean that they don't follow the blueprint. And this goes into this deeper story. But there is a much larger story as to why things are the way that they are. Why is it that things are programmed? Why is it that we are being used and brainwashed into being in these low vibrations so that we can be used as an energy source? Like I said, it's starting to become common knowledge that, that this is a thing. And this is also as there is more communication with what people want to say call extraterrestrials. I don't even like to call them extraterrestrials or aliens. I just feel like they're other dimensional beings. That's what they are. That's what I am. That's what a lot of people are. Star seeds. They're from, technically seeded from another dimension, but I'm from all over the place. So I try not to sit there and put labels on it. I just acknowledge that I'm of source. I've been here for a really long time, and there's a lot of stuff I have to do, and I've been working a really long time to get to this point. But either way, there's a much deeper story to this, that we have been literally programmed to not remember. And that's why I say we incarnate with amnesia. And then it's just like this really, really vicious, dark cycle. But like the beautiful thing about being where we're at now is that we're awakening to that. And because this programming has been so, it makes me uncomfortable, so deeply embedded. I'm so grateful to not be there anymore, to not be programmed, or not there is still programming. I'm not going to say that there's not programming still that I'm working through. There is, but I'm not controlled by my mind anymore. I am now both the pilot and the co-pilot, and my sweet girl, she's the flight attendant. That's how that goes. So, and on a very rare occasion, something will happen with, pilot and co-pilots, and somehow flight attendant will make it up into the cockpit. She doesn't crash the plane, but it happens on a very rare occasion. But for the most part, what's happening is we're learning that we're not our minds, and that we've been programmed, and that we're having to change this programming, and that feels crazy. If it feels crazy because we've been programmed that way, and I keep saying programming because it's true. It sucks, but like I keep saying, it's not impossible, and I am living proof. I've been through a lot of darkness. I brought in a lot of that darkness to alchemize it, and to make this shift, to really show people that I heard this in a reading. I was this spot on reading I listened to the other day, but she said, and she said it in this very beautiful way, I do not look I do not look like, let me start over. I do not look like what I have been through. I do not. I have been through, and I even did this with myself, where I minimized what I went through, because I was like, oh, it's not uncommon to be raised in a broken home, where you don't have a mother and a father. I still had food in my stomach. I still had heat and warm water. I didn't have air conditioning, but that's whatever. I sit in the sauna for like 30 to 40 minutes, so I don't really care about that, but that's beside the point. But you know what I mean? It's just like, no, I didn't have a ton of luxuries. When my brother and I were not the kids on the block that always had the new things. We didn't have all the toys and stuff. It was a treat for us to be able to get pizza maybe every other Friday or something, if that. We had very basic cable. So it's like we did have certain luxuries, but not a whole lot. It was like, like I've mentioned before, it was like, single mom on a budget. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but like that's kind of how it was. It was like, we had single mom on a budget kind of diet, and that was okay. We were supported. We had other family members that were very supportive and instilled a lot in us in so many different ways that I won't necessarily go into details about, but yeah, so, oh gosh, damn it. I hate when that happens. Just really, really, yeah, embedded programming. Had a lot of that. And oh yeah. See, I always do this. I happen to bring myself back. I minimized the things I went through because I looked at what I had, and maybe that's just because I was grateful. And that's what it is. Because of how I was raised, I was taught to be grateful for everything that I had. Even though, yeah, I would look around and be like, oh, damn, I really want a trampoline. Yo, I still want a trampoline hella bad. I want a big ass trampoline. I want to jump on it and do flips and stuff. I'm getting one. I'm doing it. I have a trampoline somewhere. Yeah, I do. I already have it. See that? I got hella passionate about it. I already have a trampoline somewhere. So, but it's like I would look around and I'd be like, man, I'd want that, but I wouldn't be like, oh man, I want that so bad, because I was never raised to be a materialistic person, and I was raised to appreciate the things that I had. So, I think in that I was like, oh, my life wasn't that bad. When in reality, it was dark. It was really, really freaking dark. But that's what I'm getting at here, is that because of this darkness and everything, because of all the things that I've been through, I've still been able to make it through and make it out and get to where I'm at. And oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. I'm blessed to be able to share that with people and let them know that, like, it's not impossible. You're not alone. It's not impossible. You're not crazy. You're so not crazy. And that's what I'm saying. It's because society has told you, if you do this, you're crazy. If you do that, you're crazy. But let's go back to what crazy means. I think insane is literally when you do the same thing over and over and over again, the exact same way, expecting a different result. That's insane. But when people refer to other people as crazy, I feel like that's just because they're looking at them as doing something or trying to do something that has never been done before. So, and that's just because of what we know. And all we know is what our mind is programmed to know. What we know here, your heart, that's your truth. And holy cow, it's a library of, like, oh my gosh, infinite knowledge. A lot more than what this holds, or can try and compartmentalize, or, oh gosh, that's so hard. I'm going through this phase. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm going through this phase where, as I'm getting more and more downloads and I'm absorbing more of, like, my purpose information, what I would call, you didn't see those, my purpose information, which I would say is just like what our Akashic records hold. I don't want to get into that. If you guys don't know what Akashic records are, please look it up. They're awesome. Yeah, it's like I feel like when I'm getting all of this stuff, my brain's like, I can't hold on to all of this stuff, and I'm starting to, like, not necessarily forget, because I don't think we ever forget. I think it just kind of, like, goes into a further back subfolder, a subfolder, where it's like, oh, I don't need to know about this celebrity couple and, like, their kids' names, or, like, whatever. Apologies. Like, that's so attractive. I love hearing the phlegm develop in your throat. So sexy. It is. I love myself and all of my humanity and all of my ascending humanity, actually. So, yeah, while you're feeling crazy, just know that you're not. And it's not just me out here. It's not just hundreds of us. It's not just thousands of us. I don't even honestly think it's even hundreds of thousands. I think that there are actually people in the millions that are on this path, that are shifting. I don't necessarily feel like I'm going to connect with all of those people. I don't necessarily feel like I'm here to do that. My vibe attracts my tribe, and I'm meant to hope, pardon me again, confirmation, whoever is drawn to me. I have full faith in that. Like I was saying, I've been through a lot just in the last 72 hours, and one of those big things was full surrender. I never thought that I would get to this point. I mean, because really, like, your ego's always sitting back there, just like throwing in those little doubt things. Like when you have like a little bucket where you can put in like a comment box. That's what I picture. I just picture her just like sitting in the back of the plane. There's a comment box and she just keeps throwing in her little comments. And you know what's funny is sometimes they make it in the comment box and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I read them and sometimes I don't. But I guess that's the beauty of being in control. But so yeah, I feel like even just a few days ago, she was still really trying to throw in that doubt. So it's like, even though you're getting all these signs, even though you're talking with people, you're listening to people's stories, you're resonating with it, there's still that programming and we don't want to hate on our egos, because I feel like it's all encompassing. Ego, shadows, inner demons, inner child, they all go together. So, and I had to learn this lesson too, as at one point I was getting so pissed off at my ego. Symbolism, that's been popping up a lot for me. My ego. I was like literally I was gagging her in my mind. I'm like gagging her and freaking like tying her up and throwing her in the trunk of my mind, because I was just getting so tired of her throwing in this doubt. It's like I'm working so hard to listen to my intuition, my highest self, my guides, connect, do what I'm supposed to be doing, and you just keep coming in here and just throwing in this doubt. It was making me so mad. But in doing so, I was like, nah, I need a shift. I need a shift, because you are a part of me, and you, in a sense, the mind is a very beautiful tool that we should be using, and it's been programmed to be in control, and so we just need to shift that. That's all. But I think we have to have compassion in doing that as well. So that's what I started doing, and really loving my inner child, and having compassion for my ego, my programming, because that's what it is. It's a program. So you got to think she's just doing what she's programmed to do, or he, in my case, she, but your ego is just doing what they are programmed to do. So have compassion for them, but also at the same time, work with different things. Subliminals, that is one thing I really want to bring to my channel, is subliminals. I want to bring it to my own freaking life. I'll be honest, because like I have been using subliminals from somebody else, but the app always fails on me. And even though I love being able to contribute to another beautiful soul, that's $20 a month, and I'm like, yeah. Plus also, like, I if you guys caught my last video, I'm on the train of like really wanting to provide healing and stuff like this to people that are not able to afford. I trust that I am provided for, and the universe is going to give me the abundance that I know that I am and have been awaiting. And so it's that's where I'm at. That's what I was getting at, is like I'm in a full surrender. So I'm full surrender, full trust. Didn't think I would get to this point, but all the signs are just flooding in. So it's like, how can I not? So yeah, like, comment down below, let me know if you guys are resonating, where you guys are at on your journeys, maybe what you want to see, what you want to hear more. I already have a lot of ideas for what I want to bring to my channel and contribute and offer up to you lovelies. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that here. I don't want to get this I don't want this to be too long. We're already pushing 40 minutes here, but yeah, so as always, love, light, and blessings. And if you want to join our lovely tribe, please subscribe. But if not, thank you for being here for the message, and I love you guys so much.